thank you so much. Azria has chosen me to be your multifamily instructor. I'm so incredibly honored, and I just want to say thank you. I actually, when I barely got my real estate license and I joined a small apartment brokerage, they told me about Azria, and I was like, I'm going to go there. It was such a cool opportunity because you guys are not just teaching people about real estate. You're actually a trade association, so you're not trying to put people in bad situations. So thank you again, Mike. I'm so incredibly honored to be here tonight with you.
Oh, thank you for hosting us at your lovely house. Mike Elfrey, Executive Director of Azria. So thank you everyone for coming out to Sophia's property. So we met probably over the years once or twice. I've seen her present. I've seen her teach. Always heard good things about her. So like I said, we don't put people in bad situations. So we trust Sophia to teach you the right way to invest in multifamily. We also have Jose Miller.
Jose!
Back there. He runs our multifamily mastermind. So we have a couple events coming up with Sophia. Monday with Jose at the Central Phoenix office. And then we're going to do a live Zoom call with Jose and Sophia finessing the multifamily flip. So check that out. There's flyers around. So I don't want to take up too much time. Thank you for having us, Sophia. And
thank you.
Good to go?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you. All right. So before we start the night, our company is called Grace CRE, and we are a multifamily brokerage. But I have my wonderful husband here, Joshua. Come on up, babe. He's like my better half. We're very opposite. I'm very extroverted. He's very introverted, but you know, he's definitely bring a lot of love to my life, and he definitely brought Jesus and God into our life. So we created Grace because we wanted to be the first investment brokerage that was faith-based. So before we start tonight, we're going to say a prayer if you guys don't mind, and I really appreciate it.
Love that.
All right, babe.
All right.
And speak up so everyone can hear you.
Okay. Our Father, Lord, we thank you so much for this opportunity to gather together and, Lord, to learn a little bit more about investing. Lord, we know that you are the ultimate in investing, and we pray for your Spirit to guide us, to teach us, to help us to understand your wisdom along with your grace that will help us become the investors that you have destined us to be. And Father, we pray for those who haven't made it here, that are still traveling, Lord, that they might get here safely. And we just praise you and thank you for everything that you've done for us and for everything that you're continually doing for us, even though we may not see it. And so, Lord, thank you for everything that you've done in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. All right, guys, I'm so excited to be here. So this is my beautiful home that I actually got by actually flipping apartments. So normally I've never done an actual event at a single family, which is kind of different. So I normally do all my events at apartment buildings, and they're outside and they're kind of disgusting, but this is quite, this is nicer. So anyway, so I want to show you guys, I want to serve you guys tonight, and it's not really going to be about me. I'm going to go over my story quickly. If you guys want to actually learn and kind of dive in, we can also do that tonight as well. But I want to show you guys how to secure exclusive off-market deals with or without a broker. So tonight, guys, I want to know by the raise of hands, how many of you guys own multifamily in here? Because I know, okay. All right. Mike? Melissa? I forgot your name, sir. Wayne. Jose? All right. Jose, how many doors do you have?
In multifamily?
Yes.
That I own personally, let's say 10.
How many?
Let's say 10.
10? Perfect. All right. Mike?
10.
All right. Melissa?
6.
All right. And then who else raised their hand? Sorry. What was your name again, hon? Nyreen. All right. How many units do you have?
We have equity in 6.
You have equity in 6. That's awesome. And I think you do capital raising as well?
Yeah.
Okay. I like it. All right. Perfect. So that means that all you guys would like to maybe get into multifamily? All right. Have any of you guys actually attempted or tried to get into multifamily yet? By raise of hands? Long time ago. What made you give up?
Money.
Okay. All right. What about you?
Joe didn't go through.
Okay. Why?
Stellar and Stellar repairs.
Solar repairs, too many repairs?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And how long ago was that?
4 months ago.
Okay, 4 months ago. Was it in this market?
No.
Okay. We're going to go over different markets, guys, too, and where to be at. All right, I'm going to see if this thing works. Boom. All right. So I have a family of 3 and my husband. I'm almost about to cry right now because, like, we are literally, me and my husband right now are burning our ships for our 2 oldest children. My 2 oldest children come from a bad marriage, and I have been trying to fight for my freedom for almost 7 years. So in order to do that, you literally have to go back into a dark place and literally fight for your future to actually happen. So we were actually going to move into this home. We bought it with our multifamily flips, a self-directed pension plan, and we're moving to Florida. But, you know, when you have custody battles, you can't necessarily make those moves that you want to make. So going through a custody battle right now, so not in the best place in my heart, but I know that God is going to get us through it because these kids are worth it. Our little baby, she's like 3 now. Me and Joshua like have our family complete, but you know, these are the main reasons why I do what I do. I got into real estate in 2013. I was doing hair. I was putting groceries on credit cards, and when I was married to my first ex-husband, like I lost it all in 2006. Like I was a wannabe investor back then. So I did hair, putting groceries on credit cards, and then what do? Like I also had to file bankruptcy in 08 because I was a wannabe investor and actually lost everything. So I was $1 million in debt at 24, and I thought, I was like, you know what? I'll just give up everything. I had to give up my cars, and like I was, I think when all that happened in 2008, I ended up getting pregnant with my husband, and you know, this is how my life started. So everything got completely turned around when I started getting into multifamily though. So what I did was I had $343 to my name in 2013, and I looked down at my pay stub, and I was just, you know, working at the mall doing hair, and I'm like, how the heck am I going to get out of this rat race? So what I did was I went home that day to my ex-husband at the time. I'm like, I need to make a change. And he's like, it's not the right time. I'm like, it's never going to be the right time. So who in here has a real estate license? Awesome. Number one thing I teach is to get your license. But I wanted to do it different this time. So I pulled out a loan out of our 401k and I went into real estate school. I hung my license with a small apartment broker, and I made my first sale happen in 10 days. I did so well that I sold 24 buildings my first year and retired my ex-husband. So like I went from like basically like crying if like I lost like $20, and then now I'm like, okay, my life is about to change. And it was all through small apartments. Am I doing this right? Okay. Now, I created Learning Apartments. Now, I've been doing this since, 2013, but technically, I was actually raised by an immigrant from Austria. My dad moved here to this country when he was 21. He was brought up in World War II, so he had a definitely different upbringing. So when my dad learned how to work on cars here when he moved here to our country, eventually what happened was he ended up hurting his back. And so what happens is you can't be a mechanic or you can't work forever. So what he did was he sold his car lot and then bought apartments in the 1980s. My dad retired at 36, so that's what I was raised around, was apartments, and these things were ghetto. My dad would go dumpster diving, I would hide in the car, I would freak out, and he was a complete slumlord, but he wouldn't rent to blacks, he wouldn't rent to whites, he'd only rent to Mexicans, he said, because they have the families. And my dad, you couldn't do that stuff legally, but that's what my dad did. But I know. My dad was, but long story short, he sold his apartments in 2006 and he made an incredible profit. And in 2006, the units were trading for $70,000 a door, which leads me to what's going on in our marketplace today as well. So the number one reason why I'm telling you this is because you can retire very quickly with small, crappy apartments. They don't have to be pretty, but they make a ton of money, especially when you buy them and flip them or renovate them or find another exit strategy for them. So One of my biggest problems that I have since I've been a broker, and I'm also an investor, is most institutional brokers actually keep all their listings to themselves, exclusively in-house. And one problem with that is that means that the brokers will cherry pick the buyers. And if you guys don't know this, that 90% of all multifamily is actually traded off market. So how do you get an opportunity? That's why I wanted to create Learning Apartments. I also wanted to be able to teach people how to protect themselves. Now, let me go over our marketplace here in Arizona. We are down in sales almost 85 to 90% right now. 60% of everyone who's bought in a building here in the last 3 to 4 years will lose their building here in the next 12 months. Okay? And we'll go over that as well. So I want to teach you guys to the opportunity to actually go over the biggest wealth transfer that's about to happen. Oop, sorry. This thing's touchy. Oh, nope, I went to the wrong one. So the biggest wealth of transfer is happening in the next 6 to 24 months. So all the notes that are coming due here over, that's like 5 units and above in the US are publicly recorded. So that means there's potentially 1.5 to 2 million units available for purchase. So I'm telling you guys, like, if you want to get properties on pennies on the dollar, this is like the time to get in now. And I'm not even telling you guys to go direct to the sellers anymore. I'm telling you to go direct to the lenders and the syndication groups to have all their funds coming due. How can you find these same deals? I want to actually go over a couple examples on deals that I've actually done. I know like these are small, but this is just a little fourplex. I actually bought this with my agent. It was listed on the MLS and it was listed for $905. This is what it looks like afterwards.
Which was it listed for?
$905. We did the rehab for $275. Our holding cost was $25. All in was $1,205,000, which is a lot for 4 doors. Okay,
Fourplex?
it was a fourplex, but I broke the marketplace here in Scottsdale. They were only like 900 square foot units, 2 bedroom, 1 bath. Okay, so if you divide that by 4, that's $301 a door. That's a lot. That's like a price of a single family. But look what I sold it for. I sold it for $2.3 million, and I made a $1,072,000 profit. So that means that I traded this building for 2.3 divided by 4. So I traded it for $575 a door, all cash in 4 days. Okay, 1031. I like 1031s. Okay, and I got, you know, also again, guys, I got reimbursed for commission because I'm licensed, and so everything's pro forma. You guys ever see pro formas of like what the numbers are? Yeah. So what I did was I did an Airbnb arbitrage. I made them look beautiful inside. Somebody subletted my units and ran their own Airbnb business. So I was able to collect $2,800 a month in rent. And then I also rubbed on all the trash, all the sewer, and other expenses onto the tenant. So then out-of-state investor that's in a 1031 will pay top dollar for that because now it's like more like a triple net. Okay. This was in 21, guys. Okay. 21, 22. All right, so this one was Avalon. This one I actually did off my direct mailer. So I send out 7,000 pieces of mail a month asking investors to sell their apartments. I listed the apartment building. It was a set of 3 fourplexes. There were 12 units, okay? And this particular one, we were actually in escrow twice. The first buyer didn't even do an inspection. The second buyer was actually double repping, which is dual agency here in Arizona. And they were a young syndication group out of California. They didn't really know what they were talking about. And they're like, oh, well, it needs all these repairs. They wanted another $200,000 haircut. And my seller was like, no, I'm not going to do it. So I was like, I'll buy it. I need to buy more buildings for my course. And so I bought it. So I bought it direct from my seller. So I bought it for $3.249. So we're at $205 a door for like literally shit buildings. Like it's so terribly bad. Like we had to rip out all the foundations and the sewer lines. I did $900,000 in rehab. My holding cost was $194,000. Thank you, Capital Fund. Where are you guys? Cap Fund still here? Okay. in the hallway. Thank you, Capital Fund.
You're welcome.
So my all-in cost was $4,149,000. I sold the building after I put it on the market. It was only had it listed for 30 days. I also got $210,000 back in commissions because I was a listing agent, so I got 5% back. So I made $1.385 profit in 10 months.
How long? 10 months.
10 months. And guys, I bought this at a 1 cap. Now I want to kind of get an idea on underwriting. If you underwrite buildings, almost 99.9% of the time they never make sense. That's why I teach things differently. I underwrite very differently. So if you guys can see different examples of something like this, and if you know the timing of the market and you know the market that you want to be in, you can catch these spreads with really ugly little apartments. And they're easy to do. All right, so let's go over this house. How do I change it back?
To the previous.
No, to the listing. I want to show you how I got this house real quick. All right, so this is what the kitchen used to look like. Isn't that gorgeous granite Tuscan tile garbage? And if you notice, there was window, window, window. I don't know why that was a thing, having a desk in the kitchen. It was annoying.
That was back when people had
Oh, babe. Okay. See, you think about that stuff. And I'm like, why?
You shorter nails.
Yeah, I think so. This is what the stairs used to look like. Yeah, it was bad. Oh, where'd it go? Thank you.
Sure.
He's helping me. All right. So it kind of gets you an idea. It was a 3, 2.5 in a neighborhood like this that has a ton of kids. How can a 3, 2.5 with a neighborhood ton of kids sell? You can't. This thing sat on the market. I really got granular with the actual listing agent. So listing agent was the EXP. I said, hey, I like this property. It was a decent price. I knew what the spread could be. So I'm like, how do I get this opportunity on a seller carry? So I presented to the actual listing agent. I said, hey, would the seller entertain a carry? Because what I did was I noticed it was the same sales price practically as what they bought it for and listed it for. And it was 3 years ago. So they sold it for, they pretty much bought it for 1.240 or 1.219. So now they're losing money. And it was 3 years ago. And 3 years ago means that there must be an interest rate that's much better than what today's rates are. So I'm like, this ugly Tuscan thing is not selling. So I need to do something to make a win and also get the seller out. The seller also had HOA problems and he also had tax liens. This is what the bathroom used to look like. I don't even know how you can even walk into it.
This bathroom right here?
Yes. Oh, I don't know how to. Let me get there. Oh. Okay. Yeah, it's a pretty ugly bathroom. Yeah. You know, I just had a little powder bath right here. It was just really not good at all. So what I did was I hired a designer. And if you guys hire a designer, you can get really good top dollar. And one thing I always like to recommend too is get if you have a house that's so unique that you don't have comps that really support the sales price of what you put into it, you want to get an actual appraisal done. Right here? Right?
Yep.
Oops. I think I like your fingers better. Okay, so this house appraised for $2.185. I currently have it listed for $1,995,000. I lowered it a little bit. Tax records show 32 to 20, but my actual appraiser is actually showing 3560. So now it actually makes my square footage a lot less, and you're getting so much more for the quality finishes. Okay, so this is something you guys should definitely want to consider if you're flipping an asset like this for luxury. So I call this the silver leaf of Arcadia with a DC budget. this is what this house is. I don't know if you guys know anything about Silverleaf of Arcadia. So, but anyways, that really helped our sales price. We've had about 5 showings already, and it's been on the market for about 2 weeks. So we think it will sell pretty quickly. Tyler. Tyler.
Oh, boy.
I don't know how to get to oh, there it is. All right, so can you make it big again?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. I like glass too. So purchased for 1.25. I put 250,000 into it. Holding cost is about 56. All in is 1,490,000. I only put 100,000 down, and I got a $37,000 commission back, and I made him give me a $30,000 credit at close of escrow. The existing note was actually at 4.5%. I wrapped the existing note with him because he wanted to make an extra spread, so he caught the spread at 500. So now I'm doing it at 5. So he's like, "Well, it's still my credit. I want to make a little bit of money." I'm totally cool with that. All right, I did completed the 30-year AM, and then again, like I said, I got the $30,000 credit. And so this one, I should net about $445,000 after all closing costs. All right, where did the other thing go? Okay, so what I wanted to go over with you guys is, how do you approach somebody that's not offering like a seller carry, okay? So one of my biggest things with this one was I actually talked to the agent. I knew what was going to happen. I knew it wasn't going to trade. So I convinced the seller to do these terms. Now, a lot of brokerages do not let you do wraps. After we got the contract accepted, his broker tried to get me to cancel because their E&O insurance does not cover wraps. So I was like, sorry guys, we already accepted the offer. I'm not backing down. It's like 100,000 down. I'm not backing down for sure. So what I wanted to show you guys is you guys can totally take advantage of these situations and be able to get in these type of apartments or like single family like this by just having your license, having a little bit more education. So the number one reason why I wanted to teach people like actually how to get into the multifamily game, because I see all these syndication groups right now. When I said like 60% of all these investors are about to lose their investments, what about you? Did you put in $100,000 in a deal? What was that the only 100,000 you had? Or maybe it was 50, or maybe it was a teacher that invested in that deal to get a certain return and now they're losing it all. And then a lot of these investors are doing these large capital calls, and now like you have to put more money into these deals. But the biggest problem is that people may not know is commercial brokers only represent one side. So that means that they only represent one side of the transaction. So when you go into a multifamily asset, they're looking out for the seller. They're not looking out for you. That's a problem. They'll come up with whatever pro forma, whatever comps that they want and say, oh, this is a deal. Now we're in a situation where our inventory is super low, and now 60% or more of the people here in Arizona are going to lose their assets. I will give you an example of a deal. I did a 96 unit in 2016. It was in Mesa. It was $77,000 a unit. He did nothing to it. He sold it with Marcus and Millchap 7 years later. I made this guy $18.5 million. He wouldn't even list it again with me, and I'm the one who brought it to him off market. I was pissed, okay? I will never bring him a deal again. Catching an $18.5 million spread. He like an investor group, a young group from Chicago, buys these apartments. They buy for $285 a door in 22. $285 a door in Mesa. 2-story construction, 1970s. Okay, now they also have to put another $35,000, $30,000 a unit into it just to bring it into today's standards. So now they're in this building, $315,000. Now they're like in like that $29, $30 million range, and now the building's maybe worth like 10. That's what's going on here in Arizona right now. Okay, so a lot of groups are going to lose their building. Wouldn't you guys want to be that person that like gets that building before somebody else does? That's what I want to teach you guys, okay? So we have a pre-launch offer. So I'm teaching you guys how to find the most profitable properties on your own, killer strategies and closing and negotiations on the best deal that you can find every time. How to flip apartments. My average returns are 300 to 500%. I've flipped over 18 buildings so far. How to protect your assets and not lose your money. And how to analyze a deal correctly every time. So For you guys, we have a promotion tonight for 187. I'm going to teach you guys how to get started and build like the actual correct foundation. But I actually want to put some people on the spot tonight. So I'm going to do Melissa because you already own a duplex and she's about to get her license. So I'm going to call you about your duplexes. So I want you to come on up. Yeah, we're going to do a role play. Woo! I like to do more of like it's great that I have a presentation, but like tonight, guys, it's all about you because I want you guys to win some deals. All right, so you told me about your Mesa duplex, right?
Mhm.
You bought it for $400, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And you might want to catch a spread, and I'm going to call you. I'm going to cold call you, and we're going to talk about your apartments, okay? All right, so ring, ring.
Hello?
Hi, may I speak to Melissa, please?
Yes, this is her.
Awesome. My name is Sophia. I'm with Grace CRE. I wanted to talk to you about your apartments. I'm going to call them Trailside Apartments. Do you have a moment to talk?
Not right now. I'm a little busy.
Okay, that's not a problem. Well, I was just wondering when it would be a good time to talk about your apartments.
There's a lot going on, but if it's only going to take a few minutes, I'll go ahead and hear what you gotta say.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for spending the time today. I actually have a lot of investors that are interested in purchasing right now these type of apartments. And I wanted to see maybe it might be a good time to potentially entertain an offer, or maybe it's a good time to actually sell.
That's kind of hard because I'm buy and hold.
Okay, you're buy and hold. I can
Yes.
totally appreciate that. If you were to sell, would you need to do a 1031 exchange?
Most likely.
Okay, perfect. How much, like I can see that you actually bought it for $400,000. What is your current note looking like on this asset?
It's currently $349.
Okay, perfect. And so right now you have like a small spread that way. Now, if you were to do a 1031 exchange, what would you want to trade into?
Definitely something larger.
Okay, perfect. And then how much liquidity would you have to, besides this asset, to maybe do a 1031? Do you have anything else that you would like to maybe exchange into?
There is, but because they cash flow, I not necessarily want
Want to sell?
Mhm.
Okay. So if I was to find you something that was better than your duplex currently, and what are your current rents right now?
1836 one side and
Mhm.
inherited tenants 1460.
Okay, perfect. And then are they on yearly leases?
Yes, they're coming due though.
Okay, perfect. And then have you done any major capital expenditures that I don't see that I see that you bought like back last year?
Well, just one unit got renovated, so there was like about 30,000 put into it.
Okay, perfect. Did you add washer and dryers inside these units? Because I can see the old listing didn't have that.
Yes.
Okay.
One side.
One side. Okay. What do the tenants do on the other side? Do you have like storage in the back, or do you have a coin up?
They brought in their own.
Oh, they brought in their own. So they did have at least a washer and dryer hookup.
Yes.
So you didn't have to add the plumbing for that?
No.
Okay. And then so you added 30,000 to one side, or like to overall to the whole asset?
Part of it was to the whole building, just outside, redid the fascia, updating,
Okay.
but more of it went to half the unit, including the backyard.
Okay, so based off of all your expenses, your down payment, you already put another 30,000 in. Doesn't seem like you're exactly breaking even. It's like just barely cash flowing. Is that correct?
Well, the cash flow is about 647.
647 right now. Okay, but you paid cash for the rehab. I'm saying like,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so you haven't.
Yeah, enough money in the deal.
Yeah, so right now you don't necessarily have the return. It's going to take you about 5 years to be able to make that money back.
Yes,
Okay, what if I could actually grow your money a lot faster?
absolutely.
Okay, perfect. I have another opportunity over here that I would love to present to you that can get way better rents. You can either do what we call a cash out refi. Maybe we can potentially see where the market is and see if it's actually the right time to sell for you. Or like what we could do is do a 1031 exchange, and then I can actually generate you a lot better cash flow because duplexes actually trade for a lot more than a fourplex does. And then I can get you a higher return if we can get you into a fourplex.
Well, I'm opening to listening to them.
Okay, perfect. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a complimentary analysis. I'm actually going to run the numbers and see if this is actually the right time for you to sell. I don't want to put you in a bad situation that could not like give you the return that you're looking for.
Okay.
All right, perfect. And then also too, is there any other decision makers that I need to know about?
Yeah, probably my husband.
Okay, perfect. All right. Do you see how like I'm trying to eliminate problems, guys? All right, and then also too, would you ever consider doing a carryback where I saw that you bought it a year ago? What is your current rate?
My current rate on that one, I didn't make it, so it's at a 7.3.
Okay, not terrible. But you know, a lot of people love to get into properties with no credit. We could even wrap your existing note and maybe even charge 10%. And then they can come in with the capital that you need. So that way you can actually still make money off of your buy and hold. And then if they actually didn't make your payments, you could just take the property back.
There's people out there that are paying 10.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Okay.
I buy most of my guys, all those buildings I was showing you there, I've all bought them on 10 or 13%. So I don't care about the interest rate. I care about my exit. Okay. So just different strategies though.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm so excited to work with you, Melissa. I hope I can create a win-win. And then also too, I think you should also check with your tax accountant to make sure that you're able to sell. Now, did you do a 1031 exchange into this asset?
No.
Okay, perfect. The reason why I ask that, guys, is because when people do 1031 exchanges, there could be all these recaptures on all the other stuff off the asset. So they could be like, oh, I only net that. Or like, I'll just like go ahead and trade it. And I'm like, because then you could be having like a huge entire tax liability when you go to sell it. So if you eliminate how to like, hey, is it safe to sell? Verify with your tax accountant and your husband. Okay, just saying. And then see if we can catch a spread and then see if we can trade her up into a better asset. So I appreciate you role playing with me today. Yeah, you're welcome. Anybody else want to role play? Anybody else want to role play? You guys are all shy tonight. All right, who really wants to learn how to get into this business? All right, girl. Hi, girl. I forgot your name.
Michaela.
Michaela, nice to meet you. So, what do you want to do? Do you want to talk to me as like an institutional broker and how you can get an off-market opportunity?
Sure.
Okay. So, I'm going to be the broker and then I'll reverse it and then I'll have you be the broker.
Okay.
All right. So, we're going to talk about 100 unit in Florida, okay? And it is a value add, okay? So, something I'm going to just kind of go over a scenario, guys. Florida is a cash market. 70% of all the transactions are purchased off of cash. Here in Arizona, 75% of our transactions are purchased off of credit. And that's why we're losing in this market. So when Arizona gets hit, it gets hit hard. Same as Texas, okay? So, but Florida, things are still thriving there. And you know all those spreads I was showing you guys? Those are all in Arizona. I can't make those spreads anymore. It was for a season. But the season that I used to have here 5 years ago is happening right now in Florida. You can pick up fourplexes for $650, $700, $750, and you can make a $1.4 to $1.8 million spread right now. I'm a broker there as well, so if you guys want to start buying apartments there now, I can help you with it. Or if you want to get your license there, I can help you with that as well. But anyway, so it's a opportunity over in Fort Lauderdale. It's a 100-unit apartment complex. It's called West Palm Apartments. All right, you're the broker. It's a value add. Go. All right, ring, ring.
Hello.
You're calling
I'm
me.
calling you.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm the broker.
Oh, hello. This is Michaela. I was wondering if I could speak to the broker for West Palm, the 100 unit.
Yeah, this is her. How can I help you?
I'm just trying to figure out what's the numbers on that. What's the pro forma? I saw the pro forma online, but I'm trying to figure out.
Did you download the financials and actually look at the OM?
Yeah, I looked at it, but I have some questions.
Okay, go ahead.
When was the last? I see that some of the rents here are like some of the units haven't been rented out, and there's some vacancies. So I'm just wondering, what's the difference with the rents and what's going on with the property?
Okay, so right there, like I'm already thinking that you're inexperienced. Okay, now you're gonna be the broker.
Okay.
Because like I feel like you already just came from a seminar
Okay.
and you don't know what you're doing, and I don't want to waste my time. And I'm thinking she doesn't have money.
Okay.
All right, that's brutal.
Okay.
Have you guys ever tried to call an institutional broker?
Yes.
It's not pretty, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible. So let's change that.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to be you. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Sophia. I'm calling from Grace Equities. I was actually inquiring about your Palm or West Palm apartments. Is this a good time to talk?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I actually downloaded your offering, Brandon. I already underwritten the financials and I already submitted it to my lender. We're actually pretty interested in making potentially an offer on this asset. Do you have a time to go over like the management and like what's going on with the vacancies?
Yeah, we can do that now.
Okay.
I have a few minutes.
All right. See how like I'm like versus like and then like that's how I'm like almost like about to click on you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because there's so many groups that have like all these mentorship programs that people are like, oh, use other people's money and all this other BS.
Mm-hmm.
It's great, but then if you actually try to talk to a broker, they're not going to give you the time or day. So I want them to give you the time or day. So you have to be firm with them. You actually have to do your due diligence, and that's what I teach. Versus like having them just kind of like read the OM. They're not going to do that.
Right.
Okay, so now you're going to talk to me because I'm actually already did my due diligence, right? So right now we're actually currently very active in the marketplace, and I know that this opportunity is not necessarily managed correctly. Do they have a note coming due?
Maybe about 6 months from now.
Okay, are they actually going to be able to refinance?
Probably not.
Okay, so are they going to like let the actual lender take it back, or they have another capital call with their investors right now?
They're doing a capital call.
Okay, so they are getting a capital call to just kind of sustain for how much longer?
Hopefully the next 6 months.
Okay.
We'll see what happens after that.
All right, perfect. So are they motivated to sell?
Some of them are. Some people of the team, but others aren't.
Okay, so what I want to do with you is I want to figure out how we can create an opportunity that you can represent both sides. I actually want to potentially put in an offer on this one. And also, I'm really super active with our group right now. What other assets can you actually show me right now? Because we're wanting to pick up at least 15 buildings before the year end. We have in our family office at least about 185 million. So now I'm like, you're going to talk to me, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're controlling the conversation.
Yes. Okay. It's much better that way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now I'm like, what other opportunities do you have for me? She's going to probably open the door and be like, oh, I have this in my pocket. That's where the gold is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So yes.
Oh yes, I have something actually.
Okay.
It came in just yesterday.
Oh, I'm sure you do. I love it. So like, that's my point, guys. Like, and then one thing I do with my brokers, I'm a broker. Do I always represent myself? No. Do I win the deal? Yeah. So what happens is I'll let you, just to let you know, since I'm a serious buyer, I'm going to let you represent me on the off-market deal. And when I go to sell it, I'll have you listed as well. I want to create a relationship and an opportunity to win with you because I like to work with top producing brokers like yourself.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. So like stroke their ego. Okay. Most brokers are like ego driven. I'm not, but a lot of them are. Okay. So now I'm like assuring her if she shows me something, I'm not going to go over and screw her over. Okay. Because most like that guy that I made that $18.5 million spread, he completely screwed me over. Like, don't do that. Feed your broker because then they'll feed you more opportunities and deals that way. So I really appreciate you role playing with me.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Question, I don't know if everybody understands or how many people are into multifamily, so do you want to explain what OLM is for some folks?
Yeah. So offering Brandon is the broker's like projections pro forma of what the numbers should be in a marketplace. And this is where people get really screwed over. So people are like, oh, the rent should be this. Did you verify that? Did you run your own comps? I teach that, but a lot of people don't. They go based off what the broker said. And then they raise all this capital and they just go into a deal and then now they're losing it. Because the broker, again, one-sided transaction. Oh, the comps are this, the rents are this, but did you guys verify that information? Did you guys do a 5-year stress test? It's a problem. See, I recognize the patterns, and like since Arizona, again, guys, is a credit-sensitive market, that's why. That's not happening in Florida. So, like, the average rent here now is like $1,200 to $1,300 for a standard 2. It used to be almost $1,700 to $1,800. And these people owe like $300,000 to $500,000 a unit. They're not going to be able to hang on to their properties. Go ahead.
Second part, the capital call.
Yeah, so capital call is where a group of investors say like from 20 to about 22, there was a lot of bridge debt. So there were 18-month to 36-month notes. We're going to float the rate. We're going to put a little bit of money down. We're going to pull some money out for rehab, and then we'll refinance. Now people cannot refinance because we're so upside down. So now what they do is they have agreements with, like, say you're like, I'm a teacher. I invested into this syndication group. I invested $100,000, and now they're like, oh, well, you have an agreement where you have to send another 50 because now we can't keep the asset, and now we're so upside down we're negative cash flow. So some people can't pay. They can go after them. It's not worth it. So my biggest thing, guys, is like I want to teach the little guy, people that don't have necessarily like the start or the know-how, or it's great to see all these big people winning, but when are you guys going to win? Like, who's going to help you guys out, and who's going to create that empire? It's not going to be somebody else. It's got to be you. So that's why I'm here today. So I appreciate you guys coming out tonight. If you guys want to grab a few more drinks and sign up, I appreciate it. Yeah. What are you going to say, babe?
I was just going to mention on capital calls, those are typically done
Yes.
with
Babe, just say it.
accredited,
Okay, stand up.
accredited investors.
Okay.
You typically see those with capital calls with accredited investors. So in this example, a teacher making having $100,000 to just invest in, it's probably not going to happen, but
Non-accredited investors.
right. So most teachers are probably non-accredited, meaning that they make less than 200,000. I think that those numbers have actually recently increased.
Yeah.
So the Securities and Exchange Commission, they have certain rules about how you can, if you're an investor, like a general partner and on a deal, you have to follow certain guidelines if you're going to advertise to people that are considered non-accredited investors, which their net worth is probably $1 million, less than $1 million. I think that number may have increased, but they make less than $200,000 per year, or something like that. So the capital call, essentially what she said was good, but the scenario might be a little different.
Yeah, it just depends.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really just depends. But you don't want to put yourself in that situation, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I like having control over my own asset versus just, if you do a much larger transaction and you trust the people that you're going into bed with, then it's okay. But if you don't know the people you're going to bed with and it's hearsay and you didn't do your due diligence and you can't verify the stuff on the OM and you can't verify what they're saying, it's just I call it smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
Don't do the smoke and mirrors, guys. Another big reason why I created this system was because I want to protect themselves so people don't lose everything. Our apartment market is in an 2008 recession right now, especially here in Arizona. A lot of people will lose their buildings. Do you guys have any questions? Go ahead.
So, from what you're talking about, is your focus back in Arizona, or you focus?
I focus in both markets. Yeah, so it depends. We've only had 294 trades since June of 22 here. That's not very many. Go ahead.
Kind of like what he said, so what do you suggest? Either
Switch markets.
losing folks losing their properties in Arizona, or
Well, the biggest thing is I teach you guys how to get direct to the lenders, because calling the sellers right now is kind of a waste of time. We also have sellers that want 21 pricing with 24 interest rates. So we can't come to the meeting of the minds, and everyone's just wasting time. All my listings also here in Arizona have fallen out of escrow twice because, again, the interest rates keep on rising up, and we're not where we were. I traded buildings for $453,000 a door, 1960s construction, ugly little apartments, $575,000 a unit for a 2-bedroom. Come on. We are not there anymore, guys. It's just gone. I wanted to be there, but that market actually is now happening in Florida. So the same season that we had here, it's happening in Florida. So you can catch really good spreads out there. Go ahead, Mike.
When we were talking a couple weeks ago, you mentioned why you like to flip versus hold the multifamily. Something along the lines of you explain why you flipped or sold and how many times properties you traded?
Yeah, so like her, like she's in it. It's going to take her 5 to 7 years to make her return. When I can make a return on an asset so much faster, my very first flip, it was a 7-plex, and I could have held it. And I think I talked about this in our podcast. It was a 7-unit. I bought it from a wholesaler. I went direct to the owner because the wholesaler actually didn't have it. Nobody had it. They couldn't close on it. So it was a HomeSmart agent that was actually happened to be a broker. It was one of his first multifamily projects. Me and my husband went into the deal. We went in $7,000 non-refundable. We got a hard money note, put 10% down. All I did was take pictures. I sold it on a pro forma, okay? And I made a $373,000 spread in 6 weeks. I did nothing. Now, I treated the broker as a broker. I'm like, yeah, the cap rates are this. But I can do a pro forma, and I sold it based off a pro forma cap rate, and it was able to catch that spread. So that's why. If I could have maybe held on to it for 5 years and cash flowed maybe like 100, like maybe $20,000 a year in cash flow. So if I held it for 5, yeah, about 100,000. But what I did was I took 373,000 and I did it to another 8-plex. Then I caught another $400,000 spread. And I did that for 2.5 years and I made $6 million that way. So that's why I flip little apartments. I don't want to hang on for like the buy and hold. Not for those ones.
Just a
Go ahead.
comment. I have with my partner over 1,400 units
Uh-huh.
in Arizona alone, and there is another exit strategy that I think is
The
gonna become-
the buy the refi?
Pardon me?
Are you doing the refi?
No. So
Okay.
the exit strategy that we're looking for, or starting to move towards, is actually condo converting. And
Yeah.
I think over the next 12 to 18 months,
You'll see more of
the
those.
condo conversion line will be, because we've already talked to some of our lenders and they're all over that.
Yeah, no, and you know what's something you guys need to know here? And this, you take advantage of this. So a lot of apartments are condo mapped already.
Yeah.
They're ran by an association. Now, they changed the law here in 2008. So what happened was a lot of people were living in a condo and they stopped paying their HOA dues and they were losing their condos. So if an investor goes in and starts picking up a few condos in this apartment complex, and as long as they buy 80%, they can force sell everybody out of there at their price. So say if you're living in Phoenix, some of these Biltmore locations, they had $100,000 condos that they bought, and then investors came in and started slowly buying them, and they didn't know. And then before you know it, they're like, oh yeah, say your condo's actually worth $300,000-$400,000. They're like, oh no, we want to buy it for $100,000, and they can. They can. So
They use their own appraisers.
yeah,
And
it's actually in the laws, the bylaws. So just beware when you buy condos.
Quick question.
Go ahead.
Can you tell us more just about the course and
Sure.
what's the format of it? Is it all online? Are there any support groups? Like,
Yeah, we have different scenarios for everyone. So right now we're just doing a promo because it's a pre-launch. So you'll get access to it in about 2 to 3 weeks. And that's why you're getting it at 97% off. You guys know who Bradley is? You guys know who Grant Cardone is? Okay. So Grant Cardone back in the day was on Lightspeed. It's an interactive training system. So Bradley blew him up big. He actually created 10X for Grant. He did all that stuff. And then he made him huge. So my system is going to be on Bradley's system. So you're going to have a full-blown interactive training system. It's not just an online course. So it'll...
Like 3 levels you were mentioning.
Yes, there will be 3 levels to our course. This is our promotion for our pre-launch just because you guys won't get instant access. You guys will get access in about 2 to 3 weeks. And then if you guys want to get more of like a mentorship or more to learn from, you guys can always upgrade as well too. So, but yeah, I just want to add value to your guys' lives. But you guys can get the really fast with apartments.
Gonna show us the upgrade costs?
Yes.
Is
Yeah.
that monthly or is that one time?
No, it depends on what you want to do. If you want to do mentorship, it's going to be also a monthly cost. But our prices are super reasonable. So
So what do they learn in the 197?
that's going to be our essentials. You're going to get a 90-minute workshop. And you're also going to be able to learn how to find off-market deals 100% on your own. Actually learn the language of money and how to be able to communicate, so that way you can actually win deals. Because you're talking to business owners, guys. You're not talking to consumers anymore. Okay, so like some of those wholesaling tricks will not work. Okay, won't work. And then third, I actually teach you how to create your own comps. I have created comps here that have never been done before. I'm very good at it. And that's how you can get really good exits on your returns.
So your business model is running more, not buy and hold. It's running more how to.
It depends on we do both. We do both. But it depends on what your personal scenario is. Some people need money. Some people need to grow their money fast. Some people, like for you, you're like, I'm good with buying and holding right now. You know what I mean? Like you're in the long-term game. That's a great strategy. But some people are like, I need money now. I need to make 100, 200. I need to catch $400,000 spread this year. How can I do that with the single family market, which is consumer based and you can't get the rates that people want? So the reason why I flipped this house is because this is a cash market for this caliber of home. People are not getting loans on this. Every single client that has seen my house has flown out of state. Okay? And they're all cash. Arizona is all about the second homeowner. This is like the billionaire's second home, or it's like a couple people making it and then the rest of the people are just trying to make it. You know what I mean? So like it's such a huge gap here in Arizona. So that's why I said like it depends on what situation you're in. I teach both. I teach how to flip and we also teach how to buy and hold. But I think you should do both depending on what the scenario is and depending on like how long it could actually take to get your money. Buying and flipping can also be a risk too. Do you have to have all those holding costs? $900,000 in holding costs. And then hoping it sells. I actually sold that to A1 Garage Door Company. They bought it on a 1031 exchange, all cash. So I like those exchange buyers. Don't get emotional. Yes?
Why do you recommend getting your license?
That's the number one thing I teach in my course is because for this house, for example, I bought in my self-directed pension plan. So you can set up a 401k, a self-directed 401k or a self-directed pension plan. And then what I can do is I can lower my commissions by putting money into that plan. So then it actually lowers my tax basis. And then in that defined benefit plan, I can go buy and flip apartments and make whatever returns I want and not have to pay the capital gains on that money. I don't have to force myself to go into 1031 and pay for something I don't want to get into. So I teach that as well. Yeah.
Concerning, and of course, the flip side for Florida, what is your information or what do you see with the insurance because of the hurricanes and the
Oh, well, the insurance is doubled rates here too. So I don't see any difference actually. There's none. Their taxes are slightly more depending on how close you are to the ocean, but $1,200 rents versus $2,800 rents. I'll pay a couple thousand more for insurance. I'm cool with that. What are you gonna say, babe?
Yeah, the average rent in particularly Southeast Florida, so that would be like Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach, those rents on average are at least, if you average it out, it's like $758 a month per unit more.
Yeah, and then
than
like
the average rent
exactly.
in the Phoenix market. And the cap rate is higher by about 1%, higher cap rate in Southeast Florida market. The vacancy rates are
6% versus here is 13 to 23% right now. So like everyone's like, oh, well, I like this market. I did too for a season. I will come back when the season's better, you know, or if I find someone that's desperate enough that I can make a really great spread with, you know, but other than that, like it's just hard. So what do? Do you starve or do you actually change your market and then go to a cash market versus a credit market? So that's like the biggest difference. Go ahead, Mike.
So you said everything's for a season, so obviously Florida might have its season.
Of course.
Do you have any outlook on the next market, or do you show people how to get into?
Get into this market now. It's going to probably last for another 5 to 10 years at least. And there's Florida, 4,000 plus people are moving there a day.
All Florida or just certain parts of Florida?
Just all of Florida. Go ahead.
Going back to what Mike said, but once you learn how to do the system and
You can actually recreate it any market. But you like say like for example, you don't want to be in Oklahoma. The price of the unit hasn't really changed and neither has the rent. It's still $350. don't go there. Know your market. The market and location will make or break any asset you buy. Always. So I always focus on the best location. So what I'm doing right now is I'm able to pick up apartments in Florida for 160 to 200,000 a unit. The average spread in Fort Lauderdale is 295 to 354 a door. Miami is about 416,000 a unit right now. So it's really good spreads over there, guys. So you can pick up buildings and catch several $100,000. And even if you guys just buy a little fourplex and put 3.5% down, if your VA put 0 down, add some value, retrade it, make 100,000, make a couple 100,000. It's not that difficult. You don't like, it just takes like a very small amount of capital or little to none. And if you're licensed, then you can actually use your commission as your down payment. Almost nothing. And then you just ask the seller to pay for your closing costs. So when people say like they don't have money, there's a way. There's always a way. So you just have to find it.
So you want us to get a license in Florida?
Yeah, get your license in Florida. I have 10 students right now getting their license in Florida. Because a lot of people want to invest for themselves. You don't have to get a license. I am. I just teach you guys how to make money. He keeps it. Yeah. Gotta keep it. No, we work as a team.
I'm tired of single family.
You're tired?
Single family.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there's a time and season for everything, and it depends on what you need. Yeah, go ahead.
Quick comment.
Uh-huh.
So I'm licensed in Georgia, and so Florida and Georgia.
Yeah, you can get your license.
One get the other.
Yes, go for it. Because there's amazing spreads. Georgia is suffering a bit right now. Yeah. I know, it's annoying. We're going to be licensed in Vegas as well coming up soon, too.
So you can do it if you're in EXP?
I'm sorry?
If you're in, under
Well, no, we are our own company. We are Grace. Yeah, we're a multifamily brokerage.
I'm licensed.
I think it's.
You're licensed where?
EXP.
Oh, okay. If you want to get into multifamily, you might want to consider us.
I'm already considering. So.
Yeah.
We're past that point.
Yeah, you're past that. I love it. Yeah. Anybody else have any other questions? I'm all ears. This is what we're here for. Yeah, love.
Or really a hypothesis that I'm curious if you
Sure.
can either corroborate by experience or shoot it down, which is that I think there may be some juice for this means remodeling for mobility assistance for some fraction of your multifamily units.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand your question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She's talking
I think for a fraction of multifamily units, there may be like some advantage to remodeling for mobility assistance. So
She's talking about
having like little cabinets and yeah.
So, like, it depends on when the property was constructed. If it's like after a certain point, you don't have to make it compliant.
Yeah.
But like the newer construction, they have to have like an ADA ramp. They have to have some units that have some handicap. That's like an actual requirement by like the city.
Oh, right on. So
Yeah.
you say how many you have to do.
Yeah, but like if it's like already pre-done and it was like really old, you don't have to. Yeah, but like if you're building new construction, they're gonna make some things compliant with the new ADA's requirements now. Any other questions?
Does Section 8 involve anything in your considerations when you're looking at?
I hate Section 8, but there's markets that are incredibly great for Section 8. I don't know if you guys know this, but HUD will give you 100% financing. It takes like 18 months to get the loan. All right, but they'll give you 100% financing if you're doing like a brand, like if you're going out there and getting like picking up like a debilitated apartments to make it like specialized for government housing. So there's opportunities like that. Now Section 8, they mess up my sales, okay? They mess it up because they have a lower rate and then I can't exit for the price that I want per unit. So then it lowers my cap rate and then a lot of times there's drama and then there's like trash everywhere and then there's like could be a bunch of kids and other like it just I don't like it. Now in some markets it's the best thing because you can get, let's say you're able to get an apartment building for $30,000 to $40,000 or $50,000 a unit and you're getting $1,500 in rent for Section 8. That makes sense. Okay? So it depends on what you're trying to do. Any other questions? Guys, good? All right. Well, thank you for coming. Appreciate it. You guys want to hang out a little bit longer? We'll be here for like the next 20 minutes. So appreciate it.